Alright, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to go ahead and let this play in the background while I explain what's happening. So, Astartes Industries, Clyde was gracious enough to send us this overhead footage that he got of a game a little bit ago where the Blue 4 execute a very well coordinated fix and flank tactic where the Blue 4 fix the Op 4 in position and sent out a maneuver element to flank them in a position where they weren't expecting it. This also showcases a lot of good and a lot of bad, and we're going to go ahead and break that down in this video. What I would like from you guys is any questions, comments, or concerns, just go ahead and drop them down in the comment section below so we can talk about it. Also, extending an invite out there. If you want to join the Discord, we do stuff like this all the time. We talk about tactics, we practice the tactics, and we employ them in public matches and in private matches. What also helps is dropping a like and a comment. Like I said earlier, it helps the video get publicity and it helps grow the channel as well as grow the community and kind of spread the whole culture of rising tides to raise all ships. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and rewind this. I don't want you to get too into the video, but we're going to rewind it and then we're going to break it down and kind of talk about improves and sustains here. So let's take it back. All right, off rip, we like what we see. Okay, this is good. So this right here, this support by fire is doing the Lord's work with two automatic riflemen just spraying it down at the rapid rate. They're gaining fire superiority. It appears that there's an enemy over here doing the same thing this way, but right now we're winning the fight with our two automatic riflemen, the 249 saws, and a few other riflemen and grenadiers, as you can see through the impacts here, just laying it down on the enemy. This yellow dot is the cache site that we've located through intelligence gathering, and that's what we're pushing. The enemy right here is trying to hold the defensive perimeter around it. They're trying to hold us off. However, one of their their critical vulnerabilities is they are in a fixed position, which allows us to exploit that by maneuvering around their fixed position. So we'll continue. Yep, some more explosions. They keep shooting. All right, right there. We need to talk about that. Okay, we need to improve that. So improve is the lull in the fight. So we're going to talk about economy of rounds and talking guns. So with two light machine guns, the 249, you have this cool methodology or technique, if you will, where you can use each other to extend the amount of rounds and buy more time for that maneuver element to cover the physical terrain and close the distance to actually sweep through the enemy. That's talking guns. So it would sound like this. This guy would shoot 6 to 8 round bursts, 1,000, 2 1,000. Then he would shoot a 6 to 8 round burst, 1,000, 2 1,000. And then he does it, and then he does it. And they keep doing that. And they would go essentially searching and traversing throughout this area. Searching and traversing. So searching is more of up and down. Traversing is more left and right. Right. So you are essentially getting the depth of the enemy as well as the width of the enemy through the search and traverse. And as long as they keep methodically doing that, they will keep the enemy effectively pinned down. Now, what we have here is a lull, meaning they either both reloaded at the same time or they just didn't coordinate their fires or one of them stopped shooting. Whatever the reason is, there's now no longer any suppression, and you have about a fire team's worth of dudes in the open and another 2 guys across with no real suppression happening. So that's not good. We need to cover down on that. And the way we can cover down on that is if one gun reloads, the other gun picks up his rate of fire, and he essentially covers this guy during the reload, and then he starts shooting, and then he gets to reload. The other way we can supplement this is just have all of these dudes, the riflemen and grenadiers, increase their rates as well, and that also supplements losing a machine gun. But that's something we can improve. All right, right here. So we have the maneuver element coming in. They're starting to do that that action right or the flank, and it appears the enemy has a 2-man LPOP, listening post, observation post. Not sure what that guy's doing. He's lone wolfing. Luckily, it looks like it's working out for them. Realistically, you would never have one dude by himself just so far ahead of the main body. Maybe a battle buddy if you had a buddy with him, but normally you would never have one person. But it is a video game, so it's not like pub matches are holding true to doctrine or tactics. There's that LPOP. Okay, he's prepping a frag. Oh, that was a mistake. Both of them go down. I don't know if you guys caught that, but this guy called out, hey, they're coming from the west, and he was talking to him. Now, an LPOP's job is to observe and report. Now, if they would have If they recognized him sooner, I don't know. If they maybe saw him way down here, that's when I would have just broken contact to a more advantageous position instead of exposed on a reverse slope. However, they didn't, and they stayed and they tried to engage. What he should have done, in hindsight 2020, is relay the information out to his friendlies that, hey, there's an enemy maneuver element coming in from this direction. He didn't get that out. I think he only said it to this guy. So therefore, that information just died with these two, which sucks because these guys probably came in and helped to reinforce or at least swept around, to try and maneuver on the blue 4. But remember, the communication information is key, especially in real time on the battle space, and it just didn't happen. So these guys are oblivious to what's going on. Another thing we need to look at, this grenade. So the estimated casualty radius of an M67 fragmentation grenade is 15 meters. The kill radius is 5. Luckily for these three, they were only within the 15. And I know that was an F1 grenade, but tomato, tomato. Spacing is everything. If this was an RPG or thermobaric round, or even if they were just a little bit closer, they probably would have at least taken one casualty. But these guys are for sure concussed. Maybe a few of them have shrapnel and they have some wounds they need to tend to. So spacing. I believe this guy is a machine gunner. Questionable why a machine gunner by himself without even his A gunner is on the maneuver. And again, in context of the game of Bellum, he has a 50-round link or belt, and just not having that buddy to cover him with that 240 is not good. He's also shooting unsuppressed. As you can see, he's engaging, and he's just alerting through his rifle report. If these guys were paying attention, they probably would have been like, what's over there, and came to investigate, and maybe they would have gotten that information out. But I guess they were too sucked in what's happening over here, which attests to the support by fire and how well they had the enemy kind of distracted and pinned. But he should not have just been shooting. I don't even know if he knew what he was shooting at. Let's see. Yeah, he's just spraying it down. He's still shooting. That guy is he's just spraying it down there. That's not good. All right, let's go back. Okay, so we have a few more new things now. Enemy reinforcements, right? So in a game like Bellum, in real life, someone is always coming. They're coming to reinforce, they're coming to investigate, and it may take 5 minutes, it may take 5 days. In this instance, it's probably taking about 5 to 10 minutes for these two units to try and reinforce. So right now, time is of the essence, right? The blue 4 do not have speed, surprise, and balance of action. They currently are down on surprise, so these guys need to pick up the speed, these guys need to pick up the violence of action, and that will then compensate for their lack of surprise. So hopefully, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I believe these guys need to have violence of action. These guys need to have speed. I think I said that right. Tomato, whatever. But at the end of the day, more pew pew, more guns, more shooting, move faster, and that will compensate for them not having the surprise factor. So they have to they're on the clock. They have to beat these guys. And what you're going to see here is, I believe these guys are going to start flanking this way. And you will see reinforcements coming in, so it looks like these guys are reinforcing. These guys are still caught in the open, right? We don't want to be caught in the open. If we're in the open, we want to try and either, and it's like a situation dictates, right? If I'm halfway across already and I can see a gap, I'm going to take it. If I'm halfway across and I'm just hitting a surface, I'm going to avoid that surface and just pull back under suppression. Yep, so you see the bottom of the screen. You see guys coming in to reinforce. There it is. All right, so this is good. These two guys are just laying it in right now. So they're doing that searching and traversing. You can see how they're interlocking fields of fire. Literally, perfect example of interlocking fields of fire. Just taking on the enemy. There's this enemy RPD gunner, it appears, has these two guys pinned, and that's what I mean. You do not want to get caught in the open with no one suppressing. This guy is shooting, but I don't think he understands that there's a guy over here. This group is starting to move in, which is good. Let's continue. Okay, so it appears now that you have a secondary assault element coming through. So you have two angles of attack. You have guys coming straight from the right and a guy's coming in from kind of like the 45 degrees bottom right of the screen. So now it looks like these two guys can flex between the two, whichever they so choose. But we still have a pretty good support by fire going, and these guys should be able to mop up. More reinforcements coming in from the bottom right of the screen there. Oh, wow. Okay, let's backtrack that a little bit. Hold on. Let's go back. This guy's laying it in on that dude. Look at all that. Holy cow. Still suppressing. Still moving. This is good. Okay, perfect. Let's draw this out. So this is the L shape that most people hear about. It's very abstract, right? Because there's so many blue dots. But if you were to just draw a line to kind of connect the dots roughly where everyone's at, you have a nice little L. So these guys are engaging the length of the enemy positions. These guys are engaging the depth of the enemy's positions. So now, any enemies that would try and move this way, they're going to get shot by these guys. If they try and move this way, they'll be shot by these guys. If they withdraw, that's even better because now they're leaving the cache exposed for us to destroy, right? So they're doing a pretty good job with the L shape. And it doesn't help the enemy that we already have a whole nother about squad minus maybe coming in to reinforce. These guys are coming in, but it looks like they might be a little too late. Yep, now they're starting to slowly shut the trap. This is good. Just laying it in on them. These two dudes, holy cow, down here. I'm not sure their ammo considerations. I don't know if they have a full belt, they just respawned, or they got, you know, whatever. But these guys have been laying it in all throughout the video, which is nice. You have another group over here. They're laying it in. They're laying it in. So this whole area right here, these guys are effectively suppressed. They're not going anywhere. And you already have another group of blue 4 encroaching on the enemies this way. The one thing we have to be careful for is we don't want these guys shooting this way and these guys to kind of wrap around and then shoot this way. That's what we want to avoid. So we want to try and keep this L as best we can. That's how we keep clean geometries. And there's that yellow thing. Okay, cool. So focus right here on TWS internal. So he recognizes that there is a gap. Okay, he recognizes that there is a gap, and he is exploiting said gap by pushing the cache site. This gap was not there before, right? This whole thing used to be a straight surface. You want to avoid the surfaces and exploit the gaps. But through sheer firepower, through violence of action and speed, they were able to create their own gap in which he's going to exploit. Let's watch. Yep, boom. There's some suppression effects from friendlies. He just dot. My goodness. All these are dead guys up here except for maybe him. I think him. Puts the cache down, or puts the C4 down. And a lot of people don't understand in the game of Bellum, if you're putting C4 down, you have to left click 3 times on the cache. The first left click places the C4. The second left click places the binder clip for the blasting cap to the deck cord. And then the third left click is where you ignite the fuse. Then he pulls back. He didn't have to. You can ignite the fuse while still standing on the cache because it's time. And there it is. Boom. Cache destroyed. And then right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a textbook fix and flank, or a fire and maneuver. So hopefully that shed some light to a lot of people who had questions about the game, or just the doctrine of fix and flank. If you have any more questions, comments, or concerns about this, or you want to learn more about this, just head over to the Discord. The link will be in the description. Appreciate you guys for watching.